All right, let's get into our Monday Night Football preview. The Buffalo Bills, 2-0. Favorites, favored by 5.5 against the 0-2 Jacksonville Jaguars, led by the generational talent that is Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Over-under here is 45.5 points. And if you're wondering, yes, does involve the Jaguars, not just the Bills. But 4 and 5.5, boys, what we got?
First off for that, what's the over under? It's gonna be over
45.5.
Yeah, Bills are gonna score 1,000 points, and I just can't wait for another example of Trevor Lawrence not being elite that these Jaguars fans can finally see, because that argument is like the most tired in the league that Trevor Lawrence is still elite.
I don't know what you need to see anymore from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to even say.
He does well enough to be like a NFL starter, but you didn't get him number 1 overall just to play well enough.
Has he had one signature moment that we can look back to? And
it was that playoff win.
It was the playoff win against, but that's when he threw. Did he throw 3 picks in that?
Yep. And it was because they came down from a big lead.
It's just he can't get out of his own way, and then the excuses of head coaches are gone because Dougie P is a good Super Bowl winning head coach. I don't blame Dougie P, but he will get blamed for it, and he probably will get fired
He'll get fired for this, for sure.
And then he'll just be it's
the Cowboys head coach.
It's funny because tonight or when you're watching this, you're gonna see two quarterbacks. One that's an actual elite player, and one you think it is, and then you're gonna see who wins. And it's just funny. I mean, now you know who I'm gonna pick.
So this is of course, Monday night at 4:30. It's the first game on. It's a doubleheader, of course. This game is in New York. Up in Orchard Park. Highmark Stadium. I didn't know it was called that, to be honest. Highmark Stadium. Bills got a home game, though. Let's look at this Bills team. Let's start at some players to watch here. Who wants to get started?
Me, James Cook's been balling. Touchdown in every game.
Yep.
James Cook is I didn't have high expectations for him coming in. I didn't really see what he's doing now. He's for all Josh Allen does, and we've all kind of asked for him to kind of slow down a little bit and have a running back. They've done that this year, and James Cook has kind of proven that he can kind of carry the load and exceed our notions that he can't do it. So I'm looking forward to him just controlling the game. I have the feeling that it's going to be lopsided. So I'm feeling you're going to see a lot of James Cook today, and then the world will finally know, this guy's an actual franchise running back.
James Cook, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. That's through 2 games, averaging 74.5 yards per game. It's a 5-yard per carry clip. What's interesting about him is that we think of him as this running back that can do a little bit of everything. Only 4 catches on 4 targets for the year. Hasn't really been a part of their passing game offense. Only 1 receiving touchdown. He was one of my guys to watch. But my guy to watch is the same guy I'm watching every time the Bills play. It is the sun that all the planets rotate. What's the right word?
Revolve
around. And that is Josh Allen.
Allen.
He's the man. He's the heart of it. It all goes through him. Even though he's not putting up 3-4 touchdown per game stat lines this year, I think he's been every bit as elite on the year. 371 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, taking care of the ball, throwing touchdowns when he needs to, running it quite well. He's completing 73.8% of his passes, and so doing a lot of things right that doesn't involve touchdowns or big yardage games, but 8.5 per attempt to go along with his passing stats. Allen has 41 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, so he's that all-around threat, spreading it around. I'm watching Josh Allen, and because that's really what this Bills team is going to go with.
Yeah, Josh Allen actually playing. It's so weird. They're just playing good football, and you don't hear a word about them. They're not in the news. They're not in any kind of article that you read or whatever, or on ESPN. They're just winning, and this is what they always wanted. Stephon Diggs never let them do that, or whatever happened. It's just it's nice to be a Buffalo. I'm not a Buffalo fan, but nice to follow the Buffalo Bills and see them winning football. And Bills Mafia should be out and great. Wasn't last game we were in Bills Mafia? Wasn't that not last game? Jason Kelce game. I want some of that energy Monday night because they're gonna kick the.
Yeah, they're
some ass.
They're a great primetime fan base.
Yeah.
Let's go to that defensive side. I am looking at this pass rush, and one guy in particular who is raised from the dead, and that is Von Miller. 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks already on the year, and he's the Robin to the Gregory Rousseau Batman. Rousseau is absolutely balling. 10 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks for him. As a combo, these two are exactly what the Bills needed. They needed someone desperately to step on this defense with the loss of Matt Milano, that great safety tandem of Hyde and Poyer. They're gone now. You got youth at cornerback. I think they needed so badly for Rousseau and Von Miller to step up, and they're doing exactly what they need.
Yeah, I love to see Vaughn back and playing well. And then the Jaguars don't have great tackles, so
They're going to eat.
they're gonna eat.
They're going to eat.
And
Especially
Vaughn,
since Trevor Lawrence sucks.
yeah, and Vaughn's one of my favorite players of all time. So it's good to see him, and he's just it's hard to see him in the Bills uniform because he's always gonna be a Bronco. But if they win the whole Super Bowl, I'll be happy for him because he's just a phenomenal player.
Before we move on to the Jaguars, anyone on the Bills you guys are especially watching?
Yeah, I want to see how the rookie does, Coleman. Got a lot of targets in week 1, didn't really get a lot of targets in week 2, so I want to see how how he does as far as against this Jags secondary, which is pretty good. They have a good secondary. The Jags defense is pretty underrated, I feel. They shut down the Browns and did pretty well against the Dolphins too. So I'm interested to see how Coleman does.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about how terrible the Browns were yesterday, but
Yeah.
we'll give them a pass. Anyone you're watching on the Bills, guys?
To try to avoid not just talking about the guys on each of our fantasy teams, I'm looking at Dalton Kincaid. Wasn't too involved week 1. They tried to get him heavily involved early in that Thursday night game against Miami.
Yeah.
Then he took a freight train of a knee to the head and
That was so dirty.
and kind of got knocked out, came back in, game was already over. Yeah. Josh Allen wasn't really throwing the ball. I'm looking to see what they do to get him involved this game.
For sure. Kincaid, a lot of people who were staking their fantasy teams on
Fantasy
him.
draft. Yep.
Me included.
Okay, let's move over to the Jags, unless you got anyone, Gabe.
No, it's the same thing with him. I was big on him being the number 1 guy there. So, I mean, week 4, time to show it.
For the Jags, I'm looking at someone who I think is going to be the better rookie receiver, and that's Brian Thomas Jr. He's been so efficient, and they, for some reason, have barely thrown him the ball. He has, on the year, 140 receiving yards and a touchdown on only 8 targets. 6 catches on those 8 targets for 140 yards and a touchdown. Throw him the ball, please, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And give this guy a chance.
Didn't he cook Jalen Ramsey last
He
week?
sure did.
And it's just you draft him in the first round. Maybe they're trying to baby step, kind of baby him into the NFL. But I think he's ready. I don't know. I mean, I think 0-2. I think you need to stop trying to baby stuff and start get your best players out there.
Yeah. We got to talk Trevor Lawrence, and I know we don't have to beat this because we know on this show Trevor Lawrence is right there with Deshaun Watson, and he's just really, really bad. I think he's lost 7 games in a row now, and I am actually very, very happy that he's going to be on primetime for the world to see.
Would you call him average?
No.
Yeah,
He's below.
He's lost 7 games in a row, and he has comparable stats to Bryce Young.
That stinks.
He's really bad.
Yeah.
And it's just the Jags are just so either oblivious or just in denial. They're naming the stadium after him. Trevor Bank.
And not only that, the bigger thing is that they paid him.
And they paid him.
We've seen teams get tied to contracts, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, where it just handicaps you for years.
Yeah. On the year, 382, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. That's through 2 games. Completing just 51% of his passes, just averaging 191 yards per game. That's 7.5 per attempt. On the ground, he's giving you a little bit, 53 yards through 2 games. But, I mean, we were told generational talent.
Yep.
We were told franchise quarterback with that contract, and we're getting neither.
Yep.
Terrell, Trevor Lawrence, do you give him any chance?
Look, AJ brought up this question earlier, has Trevor Lawrence had a signature moment? This has to be his signature moment. This is the primetime game. This is really the biggest game for him, thus far, really up to this point. I'll tell you, he had the playoff game where he didn't play great. He has to have this to save his career, really, his legacy, his name. Like we were always saying, he's below average. He needs this game. Look, I think they need to they got to really give ETN the ball, give him some more touches, and he's got to get going. But Trevor Lawrence needs this game, so I'm a Trevor Lawrence guy. I really like him.
What did you say on this show? You're a Trevor Lawrence guy?
I'm a Trevor Lawrence guy. I like I like him. I mean, I'm a supporter of him. Just like look, Angel's a Will Levis guy. He was before the season.
True.
He was before the season.
Yeah, he was.
So
my prediction of him leading the league in passing yards.
Now he has his own award for the worst
Now-
quarterback in the league.
Worst quarterback in the league. It's called the Will Levis Award.
not to deflect, But look, I'm rolling with him. I think he's gonna have a big game I have a big game tonight. Whoops.
Do you want to make money, or you want to put some money on that, or
Do I want to put money on this?
Trevor Lawrence having a big game? I don't think there's a chance in hell.
I think this is gonna be lopsided. I think it's gonna get ugly, and I think
Can't wait.
it's just
I can't wait.
What was the total?
they're gonna fight
45 and a half.
The Bills are gonna score whenever they want.
Bill's gonna have like 33.
Another
Jags.
guy. I mean, hold on. I haven't seen the stats this year. I want to wait.
Let's talk about the Jags defense.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My guy to watch is who's someone who I have a slight feeling the guy you're about to bring up, and that is Trayvon Walker.
Yeah.
Trayvon Walker entered the league at 20 years old. Angel hates him. Absolutely hates him because of his number, maybe 44. That's kind of a weird number, but that's my guy to watch because
I do not hate him.
He's leading the team in sacks. That's 2 sacks through 2 games, 1 tackle for loss, 8 tackles. Trayvon Walker's my guy to watch here. If he can affect Josh Allen in the backfield, I don't think they have a lot of big playmakers on this defense. So I think Trayvon Walker kind of has to step into that role. Of course, Josh Allen's the other guy, absolute stud. But I think I want to see Trayvon Walker here and Josh Allen, the tandem, kind of get to Listen, Josh Allen does typically struggle against the Jaguars, which is kind of just a weird thing, but it's
Against
true.
the Bills. Wait, no.
Josh Allen.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant the other
Josh
Josh
Allen, the
Allen.
quarterback,
Like-
does typically struggle
Yeah,
against.
sorry, I'm getting mixed up.
I think it was Josh Allen, the defensive end, who sacked him 4 times
Yeah,
last year.
yeah.
Or the year before that, something like that. So
It's funny how like the Jaguars fans wonder why they are where they are. Then you realize two of your number 1 overall picks are Trevor Lawrence and Trayvon Walker have never lived up to what they're supposed to be, and yet you wonder why you guys aren't good. You haven't really hit your first round picks, and this is what happens. Trayvon Walker, 2 sacks, obviously hasn't shown. He's a number 1 overall pick. That should mean something more than you're just an average pass rusher. You're an average run stopper. You should be better. You should be more elite than almost everyone on the field because you're the number 1 overall pick. And it's just they just mirror each other, offense and defense. It's two leaders on both sides of the ball that haven't done anything. Yeah, I'm looking at Josh Allen because Josh Allen, the edge rusher, does very good against Josh Allen, the quarterback. So that's my guy. I'm not gonna Trayvon Walker. I think I'm done hoping that he thinks will turn around for him.
well, you're going to miss the train then because it's literally turnaround. He had 10 sacks last year. He's gone up every single year. I think he's still only 22 years old. Already has 2 through 2 games. I think Trayvon Walker is definitely, you're right, not what he was drafted to be. If you're number 1 overall pick, you should be better than that. But he's not a bust the way that Trevor Lawrence is. Trevor Lawrence is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Trayvon Walker is 10-sack guy in his 30s.
But for number 1 overall, you should just be
Definitely
10
for
second,
that,
you know?
but he's not
He reminds you of a Bronco Bradley Chubb who's like, yeah, you're good. You're not first round good. That's where my thing, like, people don't. I think because I never heard him speak or never heard him.
Chubb was a Pro Bowler.
Well, that's one thing that Trevor Walker didn't have. Then never mind. He's not even Bradley Chubb.
I'm not going to argue about Trayvon Walker. I think he's pretty good. I think the stats are going up every year. But, yeah, I think he does need to reach a much higher level to be worth that number 1 overall.
Tell you what, this is a good time to do it. Monday Night Football, everyone's watching. Well, half the nation's watching because half the nation's watching the other game. So that's great.
Yeah. That's our preview for Jags, Bills. We are all picking Bills. Buffalo. We got Buffalo around the board here. Anyone picking the Jags?
I'm
The
going
Trevor
with the
Lawrence
Jags.
guy.
I'm going
Lawrence
with the
fan
Jags.
is-
Whoa. I'm going with the Jags.
Buffalo.
They just give the ball to ETN. They're steering away from giving him the ball. I don't know why, but he's their biggest weapon on the offense. Give
More
him the ball.
total yards, ETN or James Cook?
If Jacksonville gives him the ball, it's ETN.
Yeah, that's a good. I think that's a pretty.
That's a good one.
Matchup. All right, that's our preview for Jags Bills. Enjoy the game.